Hello. These are the reasons why I think that you do not feel inspired. So you feel you are at a point where you feel like everything is just on autopilot, right? So you don't really feel like getting up, doing anything. Probably you are a career person. So you don't necessarily feel like the urge to do a bit more. You don't feel like you are basically on an autopilot, even though there are lots of things that you think you should be doing and you can actually be doing. But for some reason, you don't just feel as inspired and motivated and excited for what's to come like you would normally or typically have been. Now, these are the reasons that I think that you may be in that spot. And it's not really a good spot to be in because of that low level of positivity and enthusiasm that can have very pretty much negative downstream effects on the other areas of your life. So probably it's time for you to have a deeper look at that and see what can you can do to sort of get yourself back into the game. The first thing that I think, and I know for sure, it can really block your inspiration or your flow of inspiration is the fact that you do not read. Now, I want you to start reading. Now, we reading, and I mean this, depending on you and what that means for you, it can be academic materials, it can be self-help books, it can be something along the lines of philosophy, psychology, it can be science related, whatever that means for you. You need to get to a point where you can begin to see life from the mirror or side view or from the perspective of other people, more so more experienced people, so that you can basically start having some ideas flow to you that you would typically have not thought about. Now, this is how I see reading. The more books you read, the more content of more experienced people you're exposed to, the more lives in your own life that you can get to experience. So, for instance, you're picking up a book to read about probably a very renowned, very successful politician. You can get to see what their day-to-day life looked like. You can get to see how they resolved very serious issues. You can get to see how the political terrain really works rather than what you get fed on the news. So you need to learn to read, or you need to pick up your reading habits and continue to read, because the more you read, the more inspiration you get. And if you're a creative like myself, you need to be able to see, you need ideas. You need to be generating ideas like on the go, and for that to happen, it means you need to read a lot so that you can have a wider pool of things to draw from and to create content from. Okay, the other thing that I would really want you to think about is your willingness. Your willingness is greater than your ability. Now, you could have the resources, you could have the money, you could have the gadgets, you could have everything, you could be working in a very fantastic place. You have everything. It looks like you have everything, but for some reason, you're still not doing what you need to do, right? The reason is because willingness trumps ability. And the moment you become willing and you get yourself, you prepare your mind to win, you probably win. And that's one thing I want you to think about. Like, you are the person you are willing to become. So you need to get to that point where you make up your mind to do something. So if, regardless of how you feel, and that matters, because when you have a plan, your feelings are not booked into the plan, and for that plan to become reality, your feelings need to be, brought down sometimes, so that you can basically show up and get results out, right? So you need to be willing, and with willing comes, obviously there are times when you don't feel like it, you feel tired and all of that, but if you have made up your mind to go for it, you're definitely going to go for it. So it doesn't matter if you're buying one extra gadget, if you're applying for another job, or you have a bigger job. It doesn't, that all of those are just aesthetics, right? All of those are not the real thing. The real thing is your willingness to be disciplined through the process. Okay. Another reason why I feel you may not be inspired is the fact that you have not surrounded yourself with people who are doing the same thing that you want to do. So, for instance, you want to become let's say a content creator, or you want to become an accountant, or you want to become whatever it is you want to become, a graphics designer, you want to go into tech, but for some reason you are surrounding yourself with people who are doing several other things, so there is no channeled energy when it comes to what you actually want to do. So you may want to step back and think about, okay, do I need to join a community where there are tech guys there and I can continue to hear updates of what's going on? You know, what's the new app, what's the new tool, what are people talking about these days, what's going on with AI, you know, all of those things that will help build the kind of brand you're trying to build. So you may want to think about, okay, what community is out there, or what communities are out there, and how can I be part of it? So you need to surround yourself. So when you keep hearing people doing amazing things, you're like, oh, there's just this continuous flow of wake up call for you to do more than you're currently doing. If you surround yourself with people that are doing the same thing, communities really help with this. So find a community, join a community, be in the center of the flow, and make sure that you're not just there passively. Try to be active there as well, so that you can get the best out of that community. Another reason why I think people do not get inspired is because they keep complicating their starting point. Your starting point is usually the easiest, but it's the hardest to still start. It's still the hardest to kick off, and usually it's just mentally explainable and logical, because you're not used to doing that new thing you want to do. So your brain is like, no, 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 we're not going there. And so you keep complicating, you keep having 1,001 reasons why we shouldn't do something. And as a career professional, I can see that working in several situations. I've been in situations at work where there is an idea we've put on the table to do, but you just sort of see people kind of saying, oh, I support this, but you know, we need to think about this, we need to. So in the moment of saying we need to think about this gazillion number of things, we start drifting away from the initial positivity that we can basically do this. Okay, so in my mind, what I do really, especially when I know that if we actually get that plan done, is going to have tremendous positive impact on the project. What I do is, from the starting point, I do not really, so I just say, okay, can we write all of these things down, and can we be on top of them as we go along, but do not let us crowd our minds with what may not work, and focus on the positive, so that we can kickstart the process, right? So you're complicating the starting point. For instance, I'm making this video for you. The production cost of this video is going to be zero, because no editing whatsoever is going into this video. It's just going to be done, and it's just going to be uploaded for you to see and for you to get inspired by. Because at the point where I'm thinking, oh, I need to edit, I do not have the time to do that. I want to put it out there for you today so you can see it, right? I just want it to be in your hands right now. I am not going to complicate this starting point. I have turned on my camera. I'm doing this video for you to see, to inspire you, to get inspired. And I'm just going to give it to you, just basically living what exactly it is that I'm preaching to you. So stop complicating your starting point. If you know you can do something and it's going to have tremendous positive impact on what you need to do, why not go ahead and do it? Okay, so stop complicating your starting point and let's just do this. Now, another thing that I see stops people in their tracks when it comes to getting inspired and doing the things they need to do is because they don't want to spend money. Look, you need to invest to get returns. It's a simple rule of life. And the way I say it is, any money that is coming to you in whatever format, as a gift, as salaries, as payment for a service you've provided, is a seed, right? It's a seed for you to take care of yourself, take care of your family, and at the same time, a seed to put back into your business or put back into your career. It is a seed. So you need to you need to spend money. So for instance, if your career is blossoming, you don't see yourself doing any side hustle thing, whatever, it's just your career, you enjoy it, you just want to stick with your career, that's all you want to do, fine. Have you found ways to continue to update and upgrade your knowledge and technical expertise beyond what your employer gives you, such that you continue to remain overqualified for the work that you do? You need to spend money. Okay, so don't feel like, oh, I'm just going to go. There are loads and loads of free information out there, including this one I'm going to give to you right now. Free. information. But sometimes there's some things you need all of that information basically packaged properly and tailored to you. That may be behind the paywall. Please pay for it. Pay for the information you need to succeed. Okay, so don't feel like if there is a course you really need to succeed at your work and you can afford it, please put in your money to do it. If you are a creative, put in money to build your brand and all of that. Make sure that you're ready to give so I know you're giving in your time. There is also the financial aspect as well. As long as you can afford it, please put in your time. Okay. Another thing I think people do not do, and that stops them from being inspired, is they do not put their future self, they do not bring their future self forward. So I want to become, for instance, the director of finance, right? In the next 1 or 2 years, I want to become director of finance. That's what I'm looking to do. But now I'm still working as an associate finance. And my mind is still at associate finance. And everything I'm doing, the way I show up, the way I dress, the way I address issues, the way I relate with other people is still associate finance. Now you need to bring yourself forward because you need to start thinking like director finance. What would a director do? A director, for instance, will take all the knowledge they know about the work and use it to create systems and processes that other people can run with even if they're not there. A director of finance will be more interested in the overall picture, in the helicopter view of everything going on. And they want to get updates about anything. They're not like, oh, this is not my business. Everything is their business. For instance, now a director of finance will probably be given opportunities to attend some very high profile meetings. So if you're already seeing yourself there, you can then begin to picture you asking for opportunity to attend some of those meetings. Do you get my drift? Now, you need to bring your future self forward so that you can begin to live in the reality of where you want to go to before you get there. All right. So think about that. Once you begin to see yourself like that, there is this surge of energy within you. Are like that is like, oh, I can actually become this, and you begin to see yourself in that light. You can even change your wardrobe if your director's dressed in some certain way. So you begin to sort of tailor yourself. There's a way you walk. You begin to walk in the realm of what you want to become. Okay, so I really, really want you to bring your future self forward so that you can get inspired by it and you can keep going. All right. So another one is you do not understand what your time means. You don't understand what your time means. So your time is an asset. Your time is a gift to you, but it's an expensive gift. Okay, your time is an expensive gift. It's a gift to you, but very, very, very expensive. So you need to sit down and say, what is my charge out time per hour? What is my per hour rate? If you know your per hour, I promise you that every time it will be in your consciousness that, look, am I supposed to be spending this time binging this show? Okay, am I supposed to be spending this time doing this thing that I'm doing, because you've got this. My power is what, £500, £1,000. If someone was going to pay me £1,000 for this hour, what would I be giving to them? Exactly. So you need to determine, and a lot of people have asked me, how do I determine my per hour or my time per hour? It's very simple. If you are a corporate person, I think that should be easy. For some of us, we know what our power is from a corporate situation. You can then add whatever it is. So you can just take your gross salary, divide by the number of days, working days in a year. Just divide by the number of working days in a year. Because if you divide it by the number of days in a year, it's going to sort of bring it down. Working days in a year. So you get that, what that is, multiply it by 5 or 10. That's what I do. Multiply it by 5 or 10. That is your value, because beyond your work, the value that you have to your employer has been discounted. That's a video for another day. I'm going to talk about that separately, because you can't just use that and say, okay, that's my power by your employer. Power is £200 or $200 per hour, but your employer is giving you some other non-financial benefits, right? And it's just quite complicated. So that amount is still watered down compared to the other value you bring to yourself as well, to your family, to your extended community, and all of that. If you pull that together, multiply that your employer's time per hour by like 5 or 10. That's your real value per hour. That's your real value per hour. Take that value and have it at the back of your mind. Someone is going to get my time. This is what it's going to cost. I'm not saying charge people anything, but I'm just saying you then begin to churn out quality delivery per hour. It just makes sense, and then you stop wasting your own time. Okay, so by all means, determine what your time means for you financially, especially so you can have it at the top of your mind that, oh, my time costs this much. Okay, now you need to create, you need to know what boosts your energy. For me, the first fundamental thing is good sleep. Very, very, very fundamental. Very fundamental, good sleep. And you need to know, if you're struggling with sleep, you need to reach out to your doctor to understand what's going on with you. You need good sleep to remain connected to your creative side. So good sleep is very important. Taking walks is also very good. Some people also enjoy spending time with their friends and family on almost a regular basis, like every weekend, just getting out with friends and family and having that, if that works for you, then that works for you. Some people is listening to good music that helps them, whatever that is for you. But you need to understand what helps you. Some people is the gym. For me personally, the gym gets energy into my brain, right? So whatever that is for you, please do it. Just understand what boosts your energy and by all means go for it. So from my perspective, those are the reasons why I feel like you may not feel as inspired as you need to really feel. So start actioning one or two of them that you think you may not be actioning properly, and see where that gets you. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.